Good day, welcome to Hunny Walia shows. I'm your host Sonal Fool. The month of June is very important for us for two reasons. This month we started a year ago and we have completed 1 year with all your blessings, with all your love and all your support. We are also giving a promotion for a whole month. If you are running a business, non-profit organization and you want to advertise or would like to advertise through our program, you're more than welcome. Please contact us, email us, phone us, and we will be there to help you. And the second important thing for the June month is a Pride Month. We are celebrating the awareness, diversity in all aspects. Pride Month. And to celebrate that and giving us more information about the Pride Month, about the flag, and the issues we are facing in current society and why we need to know about the Pride Month, what the importance is. We have Larissa with us. She is a business owner, international best-selling author, speaker, and coach. She's also has started a non-profit organization which is a Queer Voice, which gives a platform to all the people who have faced the issues or they have gone through, giving a platform to creating awareness. That is her job, is that what her aim is, that is her goal is. And with all not, I would like to welcome Larissa. Welcome, Larissa.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
And Larissa, before I go, I really appreciate for giving me the flag pin for celebrating the Pride Month. I have a question for you because if you see all the colors, and as per my information on what I know, the colors have been, the flag has been changed in last few months or few years. Could you please enlighten us about the flag and the importance of the pin?
Yeah, so the rainbow colors came about in I believe it was the 70s. We had 8 colors, down to 7, down to 6, and that was sort of our colors. And then with the inclusion of people of color, because they were feeling as marginalized within the LGBT plus community, their colors were added. So black and brown were added to most flags to include the people of color. Now, there are many different flags available now, depending on what your orientation, what your gender identity, for many different reasons. But we like to use the rainbow plus the black-brown.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for telling us, because that was my other question too, because I have seen the rainbow flag and then also the different flags, but thank you for clarifying it, that also are part of the Pride or the LGBTQ++ community. Thanks a lot. Now when we talk about the LGBTQ++ community, and then we talk about the Pride Month, right? They are connected, they support each other. What is the importance of Pride Month and why we are celebrating? What's the purpose, is it?
Well, first of all, it's not so much of a celebration. I mean, we do want to celebrate the fact that we're allowed to be who we are in the country we live in. So that definitely is worth celebrating. However, it is still a protest because we still don't have equal rights in every way. We still don't have acceptance from everyone. So it is still a type of protest that we're having. And it's a lot of people ask, okay, why don't we have a straight pride? And quite honestly, we have a straight pride every other day of the year. So this is our time, and we used to have a couple of days, and then we had a week, and now it's more of a month. And that's because we need to bring awareness to the fact that we still have marginalized people. We still have people who are being harassed, beaten, killed all the time. And so we need to change that. We need to change how people accept us. We're just like everybody else.
No, like hats off to you, Larissa, like the programs you have started, giving a platform and creating a awareness in the community. This is not acceptable. And then as you mentioned, the harassment and violence, all the jokes comes like, on the sexual orientation, we joked about it, but we don't realize unconsciously it's a harassment also, it's a verbal violence also. And I really appreciate you starting a Queer Voice organization, which is a non-profit organization which provide a platform. Could you tell us more about it?
Yes. So Queer Voices was started from that need because our LGBT plus, and I could go into the whole alphabet soup, but I just use LGBT plus because I'm trying to be inclusive without. So I don't mean to leave anybody out. But it was started because of the suicide rate of our LGBT plus youth, and our youth have as much as an 8 times higher. And that suicide rate, and that comes from not being accepted, and especially not being accepted by family. When you as a youth are not accepted by your family and do not have a safe place at home, that is what causes our suicide rate to go up. These youth, they feel they have nothing left, no recourse. They have no safety. They have no family behind them, and quite often are homeless and have no money. And some of them many of them, especially the homeless youth, end up in sex work because they need to feed themselves, and life just goes downhill from there. So our suicide rate is typically about 4 times higher, but with harassment and lack of acceptance from within the family, it jumps to as much as 8.5 times higher.
No, thank you, Larissa. So I was reading the stats of the LGBTQ youth suicide in Canada, and it talks about it has increased everywhere. On average, 500 Canadian youth from age 10 to 24 die by suicide, and that is statistics of Canada. It is unknown, however, how many of these youths identify as a lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, or two-spirits or queer LGBTQ, may be struggling with questions about their sexual orientation or gender. 33% of LGBT youth have attempted suicide in comparison to 7% of youth in journal in 2007. That's also YC survey. Over half of GLB students, 47% of GB males, and 73% of LB females have thought about suicide. Ensberg and Rensick, 2006. In 2010, 47% of trans youth in Ontario had thought about suicide, and 19% had attempted suicide in preceding years. That's all the stats have given by the different organizations. So it basically clear that is a lack of awareness. I want to ask about it, suicide attempts are happening. Youths are attempting or successing in their attempt. So for me, it's twofold, right? Creating a safe area for the youth, as well as creating awareness in the society. What your thoughts are?
I think that is absolutely what's required, because when we have acceptance, that changes. Those numbers drop considerably. Those youth don't have a need to feel they have no recourse. They have people behind them. And so that acceptance is so incredibly important for the mental health of our children. And that is why we need to bring this awareness, because quite honestly, when our children are being born, we say, oh, we don't care if it's a boy or a girl as long as it's healthy. And then all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, who they love or what sexual orientation or gender, whatever that is, that they all of a sudden stop loving that child. And that really causes a lot of mental health harm to our children. And as a parent myself, I can't imagine stopping loving my child because of, it's not even a choice, of just being who they are. And when we can accept our children, those suicide numbers decline drastically. And so that's why it's so important. But also the acceptance in schools and churches and all different organizations, because harassment, bullying, all of those things that go with it help increase the numbers for suicide attempts and suicide actual deaths.
So, Larissa, you did mention as a parent, right? As a parent, and it's very emotional, right? I am a parent too. I have 3 children. How do, as a parent, I should be reacting, or what support I have as a parent? I'm just talking about as a journal. If you find out, your emotions tends to go up and down, depends whatever your previous background is, your knowledge is, your experience have been, or your taboos have been. Is there any support there, or as a parent, not about this, I'm not talking about the youth who have identified, but parent as identifying it, accepting it, or know more about it, you know where they can reach out to or whom they can reach out to?
There are resources in it, and the number one thing is to educate yourself, because there's the Pride Center of Edmonton is a good resource center. There are parenting groups available. You'll find them on Facebook. If you just Google search parent of a trans child or parent of a gay child, you'll find different organizations. The Pride Center here in Edmonton is quite good for resources and things like that. We also have resources on our page. But the most important thing is you can express yourself with, I'm a little shocked, or I'm a little taken aback. Can I just have some time to think about this as a parent? But coming back to that with your child and saying, okay, these are my concerns, that's perfectly fine. But disowning your child or kicking your child out of the house, that is so not acceptable. This is why our children are dying.
And I really appreciate what you are doing, or the community is doing, to create a awareness in the society or in Edmonton about the LGBTQ issues, not only as an issue. I will not say as is an issue, is a lack of awareness. That's the right word. I think that is because we are not aware of it. That's the problem is. And on that way, when I was reading your website, you have started a podcast, and next one is coming on Monday, which you are doing online, and where you have invited the people who have gone through, and they will be sharing their story. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so we do have a podcast called Queer Voices, and you can find that on any of the podcast platforms or on our website, queervoices.org, O-R-G. But on Monday, I will be speaking for the Strathcona Library and doing a session there where I'll be interviewing a couple of youth who have struggled a little bit, and we'll be talking about what they required, what they hope to see change in their time, plus also we're going to be giving some resources to the people who are attending, and that's a free event, and you can register for it at the Strathcona Library.
Larissa, I have another question for you too. I'm a safety person, right? I have been in the armed forces too, and with the different safety organizations, we are starting a committee or a subcommittee which will be talking about the diversification and inclusion, right? Which will talk about the color discrimination based on sexual orientation, color, ethnicity, because sometimes the language is a problem too. So when we talk about the youth, it's not only the youth. Trade people, it could be older generation, it could be any age group where your things change, your orientation change. So are you also working, your organization is only working with the youth only, or are all aspects of age?
We're focused on saving the youth, but with that comes everything else, because it's then the parents, it's the businesses, it's different organizations to build acceptance and inclusion, right? So yes, our concern is the youth, but that is not our only focus, because it encompasses everything else.
I'm your host, Sonal Fool. You are watching Hunny Walia shows. We have Larissa with us. We are talking about LGBTQ issues, Pride Month. She is sharing her awareness. She is talking about the podcast she does to create awareness, invite all youths, all age groups, all aspects of the community to come and share their experience, what they have faced, what they're going through. And also on the same token, she is not only talking about, her organization is not only talking about the issues, she is also helping, her organization is also helping how to resolve the issue, to how we can work out and be more aware, more cautious about it. So when we talk about, Larissa, thanks a lot once again, from bottom of my heart, sharing and enlightening us, because sometimes we don't know what we are doing. So, when is a cautious action and the second is incautious, right? Like you don't realize what you are saying. And the tongue, when you say something, we don't realize what we have said it, Could be a language barrier, could be your thoughts, emotions, anything. How to basically be aware of your surroundings. Because reason being why I'm asking you this question, especially being a safety person, being in a trade person, being from the armed forces, and working with the community too, sometimes we don't realize unconsciously what we have said it. How to be aware of your audience.
I think the most important thing with that is just always expect that someone around you is either part of the LGBT plus community or has family or friends who are part of the LGBT plus community. So just don't say those things. Like, try and cut those jokes and, those things that we find funny, like, I'm just trying to think of something off the top of my head, but, when you talk to a guy and you tell him he's acting like a girl or he's being, insert any female derogatory term here, those sort of things, or that's so gay, that's a really common one that gets said. Just cut those sort of things out of your day-to-day language, because you never know who you're speaking to. You never know their story.
And sometimes that, when I'm being admitted, before coming to the show, I did ask you what to wear, right? Because to be part of the community, to be able to support. And you said be normal. And I think, as you said it just now, to be normal and be cautious is more important, right? Now, I have a very specific question related to the South Asian community. If they need to ask a question, is there a platform where they can lean to or they can go to create a more or get a more knowledge about it?
I would hope that any of the LGBT plus communities would have an open space for anyone from different communities, different cultures. We definitely try to be very aware of diversity and inclusion on our platforms so that we have different resources available. We are very careful about the language we use, things like that. If for any reason any LGBT plus organization is not, that's another bigger problem, right? So if there is an issue, I'm going to just say come back to us because we can find more information for you. But I don't know of any specific organizations at this point that are specifically for South Asian, but the community as a whole is really working on diversity.
Larissa, I have another question too, because in last few years, because of the last 2 years, but before that, there will always been a pride parade, right? And from last year, because of the pandemic and restrictions, last year, I don't think so anything happened, but this year they are planning a virtual parade or virtual celebration of the Pride Month. Do you have any knowledge for our viewers on that?
I know that this year, because the Pride Festival has disbanded over some issues from a few years ago with our people of color not feeling included, and there was a little bit of issues there. So as far as my knowledge goes, they have disbanded. The Pride Center of Edmonton is, however, sort of picking up the slack this year, and they will be hosting a number of events or coordinating a number of events for Pride at different times.
You are watching Hunny Walia shows, and I'm your host Sunil Fool. We have Larissa with us, who is enlightening us, giving us information on the Pride Month, how virtually it will be celebrated this month, and how we can be involved. Larissa, in the end, what message would you like to give to our viewers?
I think the most important is about acceptance, and just knowing that you may not agree because of religious reasons or cultural reasons or just your upbringing, but leaving space to learn and gain more knowledge about why people are the way they are. It is not a lifestyle choice, it is who they are. And so just leaving room to be accepting of other people and other ways of life.
Thank you, Larissa, for giving us the information on Pride Month, how we can celebrate, and if we need more information, where we can go to. And it's normal. we have to accept that it's existing. We have to accept it, and if we don't have information, to ask for information is no shame about it. Once we have the information, then we can take a right decision. We are celebrating our birthday also. Hunny Walia Shows is celebrating his birthday, our birthday with you. If you have a business, would you like to promote through us? It's a 1 month free of cost, no obligations. Please feel free to come. And on the same token, Larissa, we can, if you are okay with it, we can advertise your program too.
I would love that.
Thank you, ma'am. You are watching Hunny Walia Shows. Wish you all the best. Stay safe. I'm your host, Sonal Phul. Till we meet again.